Nancy Columbus, Uncle John McCarthy's 90th birthday party.
Have said to me this evening what a great party and kind of congratulated me, and I've got to tell you that it was Pete and Peggy Martin and my sister Maureen Moriarty and Tom Moriarty. You really put this thing together. Rita King. I'm kind of along for the ride. But, you know, being the only son in an Irish family, I think many of you can understand what that means, because I was spoiled rotten as a child. And I'd like to kind of bring that into adulthood as much as I can. Those of you who know me know I'm speaking the truth, and my sisters, I'm sure, will bear me up. And my brother-in-law, one of them. I found in my papers a copy of an old document, which was issued in 1926, February to be exact. And it speaks in three languages: the old Irish, the old Gaelic, French, and English. And it was my father's original passport. And it has some magic numbers to it. You know, it's passport number 56074, 56,074 for the Irish Free State. And there weren't too damn many ahead of him. He planned ahead well. Another important number was in 1926, the immigration visa. His quota number was 7,103, and this was issued in February. Now, in February, there are a lot of people ahead of me for him to be number 7,100. And again, I think it speaks well of his planning and his foresight. I think he had a lot of courage, as do many of the people in this room tonight, to leave their homes, their families, and come to this foreign country. He wasn't even 20 years old when he came over here, and I think that takes a whole lot of courage. And one of the things that I've always wanted was to be as successful with my life, given as much as I was by my parents, as my parents were successful with their lives. He's given us a great road to follow, a great example. And I made a few notes here, and many of them I won't bother with, because I like you all. But one of the things I'm very proud about is that I share my birthday with my father. Now, he doesn't share his birthday with me. Now, when he was born, Ireland was not a free state. It was under the rule of the crown. And it was something like, I think, Jerusalem, when Jesus was born, you had to register the birth within X number of days. And he was born at home, as were many people, in 1906. And when his folks got to town, I think they counted back the requisite number of days and probably added or subtracted a couple to make it legal. So he has two birthdays. You know, numbers are very important to this guy. He was born September 24th, 1906. And for many, many years, the only people who knew that were his parents. After I was born, he wrote his folks, told them that I had been born, and when. And his mother wrote back and told him, well, by the way, friends, so were you. So he has the second date then of November the 8th. And like I said, he does things with numbers a lot. He came to this country in 1926. And like I said, he wasn't even 20 yet. And ended up here in Washington area, in Washington province. And became an apprentice bricklayer. And for 3 years, he worked hard at that. And according to my notes, if you'll bear with me, he started out as an apprentice bricklayer at $15 a week. And I know there are people here who wouldn't work $15 an hour. After 2 years, at $22.50, then $27.50. And when he got his mechanic's license, as it were, I don't know the proper term, I apologize. He was making $75 a week. That's not bad money in 1929. Well, 29 has a rate for most of us, and the stock market took a big dive. And building stock. Well, he's a gutsy kind of a guy, and he was out of work for a month or 6 weeks, and he found a job with the Palo Royal department store. And he worked there in their warehouse. fired 7 consecutive weeks. Every Saturday night for 7 weeks, the man got a pay slip. I mean, you know, I've had some rough times, but every Monday morning he had a job. It seems that the people downtown or wherever the executive office was just didn't like his name or whatever. They were trying to cut corners. But a supervisor says, hey, I want this guy. Every Monday morning he had a job again. Well, he was there, and he took a dive from $75 a week as a bricklayer to $25 a week. But the good news is he had a job. And times got worse, so he got a better job, still with $1 oil, and became a head packer. And his salary jumped from $25 a week to $22 a week. Now, he was part of what I would call the Irish Mafia. And a lot of you know that term, I'm sure, or at least what it means in terms of having the extended family, having the resources of your cousins and your brothers, the aunts and uncles and friends, countrymen, excuse me, my fan club. I'll get on. I take whatever I get. But he moved on from the Pallet Oil to a dairy company, and back in '35, the Depression was coming. The country was rather coming out of the Depression. He got back into the bricklaying business. And at that time, as I mentioned the Irish Mafia, well, there was an Irish-American club, an Irish club, and they really got going in the midst of the Depression. And there were 75 members strong at one point. And he had the honor, I think, of being the president when it kind of went out of its existence at that time in 1942, just as World War II was beginning. But he said that that was an organization that brought people together and let people help one another. No one went without a meal, or too many meals. And everyone had a friend. And all of his life, he's been that kind of a person. As a member, as a knight, member of this organization that hosted us here tonight, as a friend and a neighbor. I can remember a very cold winter's day. We went to the local Amoco station. It wasn't American in those days. It was Amoco station in Plymouth, Maryland. And he wanted to get a pint of kerosene. Now, not too many people want kerosene at all, but you get a pint. And Al Dunham was the proprietor of that place, and he asked Dad, he says, what do you want this for, Mac? I know you've got heat in your house. And he said, well, you know, the Copenhagen women, their pipes are frozen. And these were two spinster ladies, Miss Myrtle and Miss Ida, and lived 500 yards down the road, I guess. And he and my mother, Ida, took care of these ladies for many, many years. They were their caregivers. That's a term that's kind of popular today, but in those days, they were their caregivers. They took care of the marketing, shared the produce in the garden, milk from the cow. Dad made sure that the lawn was mowed, and that the place was shoveled in the wintertime, and they'll walk down to the outhouse. And this was from their living, and these ladies had very little, and he gave them a lot more. And over the years, he has tried to teach his family, and I think his friends, his example, how to live life. I'm very proud, breaking up here, folks, very proud to be his son. He tried to teach us many things. One was not to use profanity or bad language. I'd say something off color, and he'd say, oh, what do you want to say that for? And his favorite, or excuse me, my favorite that I heard from was he hit his finger one time with a hammer, and it was, son of a bit my finger. And when I remember, I try and use that today. But as I said, I think he has given us many good years. I'd like to share many more with him. And I thank you all here for coming tonight. He has a sister-in-law who came from Ireland, one of Edith's sisters, Mrs. O'Sullivan. I and a niece and nephew in Canada, and many nieces and nephews, grandchildren, great-grandchildren. And so my three sisters really put this thing together. And I thank you all for coming. Pete Martin, Jim Shannon are going to say a few words, and then I will ask anyone who would like to make a comment or a statement, please come forward. And if I can do it, so do you. Thank you.
I'm Pete Martin. I'm John McCarthy's son-in-law, married to Peggy. And the only thing I can say is, keeping it short, that it's been an honor to know him and an honor to know Eva. And I want to thank everybody for the contributions that you all have made to this gathering. Not only by coming here and honoring John McCarthy, but many, many of you sent photos and sent letters and sent little paragraphs, sort of your memories of how you knew him or how you first met him. We put it together in a book, and I think there are some others that late arrivals that we haven't gotten in here yet. But the main thing I want to do is just present the book to Dad, and hope you all give him a big round of applause.
Giving proper credit to his siblings for putting on this lovely affair tonight. It's a good reason why John gives credit to them, because he doesn't live here anymore. He's in Massachusetts, right, John? He's finding that out more and more the more he lives in Massachusetts. John also mentioned that Uncle John celebrates two birthdays, September 24th and November 8th, so you're all invited back on November 8th, right, John? Your pleasure, right? Your place. I'm Jim Sheehan, and my mother was Uncle John's sister, and that makes me John's nephew. But I'm more than that, I'm also his godson. And I couldn't think of anyone who have a better godfather than my Uncle John. He's a scholar and a gentleman. He has a heart of gold. And he's been a great inspiration to me and a terrific role model over the years. He has a wonderful sense of humor and a joy for life, which we could all emulate. Uncle John's son and I went through high school together, and I was the best man for John and Daphne's wedding a few years ago, right? Our families have always been intertwined, the McCarthys and the Sheehans. In 1940, my parents were married. In fact, there's a picture on the wall back there right behind Uncle John of my parents' wedding, and there's a very young John McCarthy in the upper right corner, you see. And so you might check that out a little later. At that time, my parents in 1940 bought a house on Tunlaw Road in northwest Washington, D.C. Uncle John bought the house next door, but he never lived in it. He rented it out for many, many years. And one of the first tenants that he had at that house were a couple named Harry and Inez Peak. They were a childless couple with whom I became very close over the years. They lived next door to us for many years and finally retired to Missouri. And Mr. Peak has passed away, but Mrs. Peak is still alive and well. She's 89, and over the Labor Day weekend, my daughter Laura and I flew out to St. Louis and then off into the hinterlands of Missouri to visit Mrs. Peak. And she wanted me to pass on her congratulations to you and be remembered to her landlord many years ago. So Mrs. Peak is doing very well, and she's right behind you there at 89. My earliest memories of Uncle John were really at the house on Falls Road, the Julian Estate. And if any of you have some real old dollar bills or $5 bills, you might see M.J. Julian's signature in the upper left corner. He was Treasurer of the United States in those days. But to visit Uncle John at that house, it was really interesting because one of the things I remember is it would be pouring rain sometimes, and he would stand in the garage and just watch it rain. And I couldn't understand why he enjoyed the rain so much. My mother explained to me that your Uncle John is at heart a farmer, and he just knows the rain is needed so much for the crops he's put in. And that was so true. I couldn't understand that for a long time. But the corn roasts and family get-togethers we would have at the house on 10610 Falls Road were always a great time for get-togethers. And there was no lack of food or good times at Uncle John and Ida's house. In 1966, I went off in the service, basic training in Lackland Air Force Base, and I asked my father to take care of my car, look after it. I had a 1951 Dodge, which wasn't a great car, but it was good transportation. When my father did take care of it, he junked it. And when I got back, when I got back, he gave me the hood ornament off of his 51 Dodge. And he said, you can thank your Uncle John for that because he mounted it on this plaque. So I had this ram's head off a 51 Dodge, and it's a great possession. I really treasure this very much. At least that's something to remember my old car by. I think it'd still be running today if I took care of it, yes. Another item I have for Uncle John. This is an original newspaper from September 24th, 1906. It's a newspaper from that date, the actual newspaper, not the Xerox or whatever. And it is kind of interesting to read about the events of the day in the United States of America in 1906. The ads, and some of the headlines and some of the stories could probably come out of today's Washington Post, actually. So I'll give this to you, John, when I come back over there. Nobody else can have it. It's got your name on it. So nobody else wants to claim 1906 either. And you might notice on the back wall, we have some signs up there. You've heard of the Dead Sea Scrolls. These are the family tree scrolls. So there are a couple of red pins up there, and you see some changes or things that need to be made, some additions probably to be made. You might just go ahead and note those on those scrolls there. Don't change your birth dates. That's not fair. We also have some pictures that from a party we had exactly 10 years ago, March of 1986 over here. And that was a nice party where John's brother Chris was here, who's still alive and well in Ireland. Chris was here, my mother, Aunt Sheila, and various other relatives are all in those pictures there. So you might take a look at those. So many of you might have been at that party. And some of the younger folks here, they might not recognize themselves from 10 years ago. You and I haven't changed everything. Not a bit. And finally, last night, I was having dinner over at Mary McCarthy's house, my Aunt Mary, Uncle John's sister-in-law. And Karen McCarthy, Mary's daughter-in-law, was commenting that she told her family she's going to a weekend this weekend, having family get-togethers and fun times and what have you. And Karen said, she says, you know, when my family hears about that, they always refer to it as McCarthy weekend. And you can take that for what you will, but McCarthy weekend is full of good times and a lot of laughs and a lot of fun. That's what we have here tonight, is the McCarthy weekend. So thank you, Uncle John, for your celebration. We're all very happy for you. Thank you. Probably can't lift this. There you go.
Jim Shannon is one of the few contemporaries of mine that have known my father longer than I have.
Very little.
Very little. One of the fun found photos is a picture of Jim and me together in a bassinet. Probably age, 3 and 4 months, 4 or 5 months, something like that. I think our mothers knew which was which, but I'm not too sure anyone else does. I would like to again invite any of you to come up and say a word if you'd like to. I think my sister's going to. This is Rita Kim, formerly of Potomac, now the suburbs of Sacramento in California.
Well, speaking of my mother, this morning I woke up and my little girl came downstairs and said, come up quick, you have to come upstairs. And I said, okay. I said, who's up there? And she said, there's some people visiting and you have to come see them. And I said, well, who is it? She said, well, I don't know, but you have to come upstairs. So I said, okay. So I came upstairs, and lo and behold, there is my great aunt, Kathleen Morin O'Conwood. I don't even know, O'Sullivan. And I want you all to know that we're represented, we have many people from Ireland here, but she's right from Ireland. She still lives in Galway, and is my mother's sister. In fact, my little girl came in the kitchen. Mama came in and she said, is that Grandma? And I, no, as close as you'll get to Grandma. So, my Aunt Kathleen's here tonight with her daughter from Canada and her son-in-law, so I just want you all to know that. I don't know if you know that. She won't stand up, she's like on fire now, but I just wanted to know that if you see her, you probably think that I was here. Right.
I think it's wonderful that she's here also, but it's not that big. She's so much younger than my father, it's not that big a deal. She can travel around with you. Bill Rivers is here. I'd like to ask him to say a word. And please, anyone else, I really invite you to come forward.
And an old friend of John's, but I have to give you a little background on our council here. On behalf of Montgomery Council, we would like to thank John and his brother Mike for expanding this hall 30%. When this hall was first built, from that pole over was a wall and glass. From this wall over, that bar was outside, and the same thing over there. And Mike and John laid all the cinder block in this building. They expanded. I just have a couple cute things here I got on John. The first time I met John was 1950. I'm going to tell one on that cane, too, on it. In 1955, at St. Mary's Carnival in Rockville, there was a certain, in those days, they had the pinwheels. You would bet on the numbers and spin the wheel. But John, and then there's another guy sitting over there, Gilbert Henderson, ran a game. They had this board with holes in it, with numbers on it. And then one of them would let the white mouse loose, and whatever hole if the mouse ran into, the people would win the money. Well, as most of you know, he lives in Potomac. It is next to Normandy Farms, and next to Normandy Farms is a nursing home. And one day, John was out walking on a brisk day. It was a real brisky day. And he got in front of the nursing home, and who comes out of the nursing home but this lady? She says, now you get yourself inside. It's too cold for you to be out here. So in John goes with his sense of humor, in the front door, he gets in the lobby, and the manager says, hi, Mr. McCarthy. And the lady says, doesn't he belong in here? No, he lives next door. Well, on his 89th birthday, I took him to Montgomery Country Club. We had lunch, and I arranged with the pro in the pro shop to take him on a course in a cart and ride him around. We came back in, and we were looking around, and as we were leaving, Father Sweeney happened to come in the front door. He says, McCarthy, what are you doing here? You going to buy the place? Well, that cane he was going to hit me with, I think it's the one he lost at Magruder's. After bingo, I'd go out and get him and take him to bingo. And we went to Magruder's, did a little shopping, and we got home, and he says, hand me my cane, Bill. I said, what cane? Oh, John, you left it at the store. So I went back and got it. And that's the one he's got there now. Happy birthday, John.
I don't care what his spelling is. Easy for me, right? As Jim Shan, my cousin and my father's godson, mentioned earlier, we have, my wife and I have left the free state of Maryland for the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And people have asked us over the last 6 months or so, what regrets we have. Is it tough? Do you miss Chevy Chase? What do you miss? What's hard to do? And our constant answer, not only mine but my wife's, is we miss Dad. And that's the only thing. We'll drag him up there one of these days to see the place. He doesn't like to travel by car anymore. He says more than 20 minutes is too much. Well, we kind of figure that 30 minutes to National, an hour on the plane to Boston, and break up the trip to Boston down to the Cape. We'll get it. My sisters and I thank each and every one of you for being here tonight. I think it's a tribute to the man. It's certainly not a tribute to us. We would like to invite you to stop by his house. And that's kind of audacious of me, isn't it? To invite you to come by his house. I've been doing that for over 50 years. Well, I guess I wasn't doing that long. But it's always been home. It's always been a party house. One woman here tonight said, gee, it's a good thing our friend Carly isn't here tonight, because your father would probably still be upset about the time she burned up all that firewood. I had a party one fall night, and it was going to be a patio party out back, and it was a mild evening to start with, and as evenings in early October often do, it turned very chilly. And the temperature went down. We built a little fire, and we built a bigger fire, and a bigger fire. And at 4 o'clock in the morning, we had a hell of a fire. And being the gracious person he is, he never chastised a single person, especially me, and I thank you for that, Dad. And the house, the man, the family are just full of wonderful memories. If anyone would like to share some of those, I invite you to come forward now. And otherwise, hopefully a little bit later, we'll see you at his house. Stop by, have a glass of wine, a glass of beer with us. If you're still hungry, shame on you, but if you're still hungry, I think my sister's laid on a little ham. And you come by. And again, thanks for coming. Good night. I shouldn't have said it, because here I'm trying to invite people to come forward and say, please step up.
So a lot of you know some of us, and some of you know all of us. And we are John McCarthy's grandchildren, or a representative sample of his grandchildren, and a great-grandchild. And there's another great-grandchild running around. There she is. Come here. She really likes family functions. And Ian and Chris are not here. And Justin, the last of the great-grandchildren. Oh, my daughter's not here, too. I have two. Only one company. But I'm just going to speak for a minute, and then any of the others can speak. I would like to thank Granddad for being the best grandfather you could ever ask for. He's special in my heart, and I know that he's special to everyone else. And I just want to wish him a wonderful 90th birthday. I can't believe he's 90. In my mind, he's still like 40, and I didn't know him when he was 40. But to me, he is one of the youngest people I know, and he's one of the best people I know, and I really try to practice what he preaches. And he has preached a lot to me. A lot, but all of it's been good. But I, as one of his grandchildren, wanted to say thank you and happy birthday. Now I'm going to let the rest of it go.
I just want to say, Granddad, happy birthday. And I would never have believed you were 90 either. And I can remember many memories growing up with you and Grandma Ida McCarthy. And even here, I can remember coming here when I was little and beat-up Chevy pickup truck, and he'd come over to take the trash from here over to the transfer station, which, believe it or not, was on Good Road at that time, not off Shady Grove Road. And my fiancée Trace and I actually came back here last year looking at halls for our wedding reception. And even having been here many times as a young guy, I couldn't find this place. I could not find it. We came in Shady Grove Road, we came down the Redmond Road, and I maintain a property right around the corner, so I'm over here all the time. But Redmond Road never went through at that time. They built an overpass over by Crabs Branch Road by the Metro Center. So I couldn't find my way here until I retraced back from Potomac out 355 and found my way over here, back roads. I can remember the Amico station in downtown Rockville across from Heckinger's Mall now, going out there with him. I just have so many fond memories. I remember when Uncle John King was the bartender at the parties that used to go out on Falls Road, out on the lower patio. I remember being a little kid sitting on a wooden bench that's no longer there along the brick walkway, and just thinking, oh my God, all these people, and they were all relatives and friends and families, and it was so neat to know that you were part of such a large extended family, and the warmth and love. And I miss Grandma, and I wish you could be here to see this today. Granddad, happy birthday. Thank you.
Like Johnny said, up until a few years ago, I thought Granddad was in his late 70s. I never knew he was this old. I had to ask my dad, how old is Granddad? He always acts young and has always something funny to say. And I'm proud to have my son have met his great-grandfather. He's only 2, but he's not here. And I remember when we were little kids, Grandma and Granddad would always take us out to dinner, like to Roy Rogers or something. Grandma would lock her key in the car. And she would ask Granddad to keep us quiet and calm while she was trying to get her way in. She wanted to do it and felt she'd keep a spare behind the license plate. That's something Grandma, I think almost every time we went out to eat, the key would be in the car. And seeing her sister here, she looks like her twin. It's what I need to have her here. And happy birthday, Granddad.
Granddad, I'd like to say happy birthday, as I'm sure almost everybody has, but one fond memory, who some people may not consider fond, but I remember coming to your house over the summers only a few years ago to help you do yard work and just anything you needed around the house. And since I live in West Virginia, my friends would always say, gosh, you got to drive all the way up there and work for your grandfather. That must really be a rough thing to do. But after a few times of coming up there, I even brought my best friend down with me. His parents are here now, and even he didn't have a complaint. I mean, the things that he taught me are innumerable, and I'd just like to thank you. And you've always been there for me with a smile and a firm handshake and a kiss on the cheek. And I love you, and I'm glad I could come up to be here with you for this and meet all these wonderful people. Thank you.
I know this may not be a fond memory for any of you, but I remember back in the 1980s when I came here for his birthday. And I can't believe it's ID. What do you say, happy birthday? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Granddad. Happy birthday to you.
Granddad, everyone thinks you're celebrating your 90th, but we know it's your 39th, right? Thank you.